Hello, this is the 11th DesignFootball.com podcast, an Irish special. Happy St. Patrick's Day. My name is Jay, I'm the resident blogger on DesignFootball.com, and with me today is our authority on all things Irish, Denis Hurley. Hello Dennis, how are you?
I'm fine, Jay. Thanks for that, and happy St. Patrick's Day as well.
Oh, thanks very much, that's very kind of you.
Starting with Guinness, and I haven't even had breakfast.
But well, you don't need to necessarily slip into that kind of stereotype. It's just you're an authority on Irish things, and that's why you're here.
Yeah, but it's St. Patrick's Day, so
so Irish. So Guinness does happen.
well, for a lot of people, not for me probably, but yeah, a lot of people tend to use it as an opportunity to spend the day in the pub.
Okay.
Even though a lot of them work tomorrow, so I don't really understand that logic. But anyway,
what is the Vatican's actual stance on taking a break from Lent for St. Patrick's Day? Is that sort of allowed? Because I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That what literally?
Well, in practice anyway.
Okay, all right, okay. But do you get the?
That was always the way I was in school. Take St. Patrick's Day off. If someone in your class had a birthday party, you could just go mad on the sweets. You know, it didn't count. See, there's 47 days in Lent, so I think you've kind of seven days where you can just nominate as taking it off.
Yeah, because a lot of people take the Sundays off, and a lot of people say that Holy Week isn't part of it, so they take that bit off.
Yeah.
If you can nominate days, that's interesting. I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, we should probably talk about football kits. The new Ireland shirt has been released. Now, you've seen this. What are your thoughts on the new Ireland shirt?
Very underwhelmed, but I suppose underwhelmed is the wrong word, because that would imply I was expecting something really good. It's just I'm whelmed basically. I was expected not to be impressed, and I wasn't.
No, I had I had much higher hopes probably than you did, and it's inoffensively terrible. I think I don't understand why they've come up with these different things. Now the side panel is that I think that the side panels is like carried over from the current away shirt, which is a nod to the away shirt that they wore in the 2002 World Cup.
Well, you can draw a lineage that way, but I suppose that's probably the link. But it's like they got all these half good ideas in a spray can and then just let that out onto the shirt, you know, and there's just way too much going on, and not enough of it is good.
Just to describe for anyone who hasn't seen it, but it's on the notes and you've probably seen it, but it's a green shirt, surprisingly enough, and it has like a diagonal shadow stripe pattern as part of the watermark, that's good.
Yeah, it would be fine if it was the main design element.
Well, once you've done that, you don't need to do anything else, do you? Just have a very simple collar, have very simple, say, cuffs if you want them, no side panels or anything like that, and there's your shirt, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is swimming in a sea of features.
Yeah, so then you've got a white sort of polo shirt collar, which has a big orange stripe on it. You've got orange stripes down the side as part of that panels thing, I think.
Like the collar obviously is a nod to the Euro 88 and World Cup 90 kits, but like the Euro 88 had a mixture of a polo and a V-neck, and it was on the V-neck that the orange stripe was, and obviously in 1990 it was just the V-neck, so having the stripe on the polo it doesn't make any sense. If they were going to do a nod to it, just copy it, basically. Just have a V-neck with an orange stripe.
I'd agree. And isn't the orange stripe is much brighter and much thicker, I think, as well, isn't it? It looks it anyways. That much
orange, right? It's not fully fluorescent, but it's on the road to fluorescent.
I mean, something that needs to be said there is I don't know whether it was the case with the 88 and 90 shirt, but wasn't it slipping into a little bit of the gold rather than orange for those?
No, they were proper orange, to be fair.
Ah,
It was in the O'Neill's days that it would have been gold or yellow, really. Adidas always had a normal orange. Umbro did when they came in first, but then kind of around 2010 or so, it was gold, which I wouldn't agree with at all.
yeah, that's true. So it has reverted to that. So are you able to explain the controversy between having gold or orange?
Well, the constitution of the country says that the flag should be a tricolour of green, white, and orange, which is fairly clear. But orange, in this case, represents Northern Ireland, and some, I suppose, hardline Republicans would prefer not to acknowledge those people, and so prefer to call it gold, which is totally counterintuitive when you think about it, because it's the sole reason that it is there. So I really fail to see that logic, to be honest. But
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily refer to Northern Ireland in terms of geography, does it? It's more the presence of Protestantism in Ireland.
Exactly,
Yeah. Yeah. So you'll see a lot of Celtic Park, or you did do. I think you see it less now, probably because the flags aren't available. But you'd see there'd probably be more Irish tricolours, which are green, white, and gold than actually the proper colours of.
A lot of Ireland matches too, and
Yeah.
I'd say if you canvassed 100 people in the street, at least 50 would say green, white, and gold rather than green, white, and orange. And like if you look at the website of the Department of the Taoiseach, the Prime Minister of Ireland, although we don't actually have a Prime Minister at the moment because the government, there's been no government formed since the election recently, but it mentions the flag and how it should be green, white, and orange, and how it should never ever be defaced. But that's another very common offence by football fans who love to write, a funny slogan on the flag, and it's done as well by firms as part of their advertising. I remember for Euro 2012, Guinness had a load of Irish flags with their logo emblazoned across them. So that's another bugbear of mine. Not kit related, but design related, I suppose.
Well, it's all relevant, and if it is impacting on the design of the national kit, then it is related completely. So give us a little bit of a history of Ireland kits. I mean, don't go into great detail, but say so. What are we saying? Ireland came to being in terms of football team. When would that have been?
The 1920s, I suppose. When the country was split in two, and blue was initially worn because the United team had worn blue, but subsequently both teams switched to green. And for a lot of the time, the kits were manufactured by O'Neill's, who were the main suppliers of GAA jerseys, Gaelic games in Ireland. And then they obviously introduced the gold to the kit, the erroneous gold. And then in 1986, Adidas took over. And at the same time, the FAI basically didn't have a pot to piss in, and they needed a load of money. So they entered into a sponsorship deal with Opel. And Opel sensed an opportunity to get real bang for their buck with this deal and said every single replica shirt sold has to have our logo on the front, and the FAI gladly accepted. And that has set the precedent for subsequent sponsorship deals after Opel, with Aircom and then Tree having their logo appear on the shirt as well. And it's a source of annoyance among Irish fans that they can't buy proper kits unless they're willing to spend huge money. But that's the way it is, and I can't see it really changing now. Umbro took over in '94 after the World Cup. The last Adidas kit only lasted about 4 months, I think. And Umbro have been there since, so that's 22 years, and they've certainly got their money's worth because kits are released pretty much every year now, and you almost don't have a chance to get familiar with a kit before it's being replaced again.
Yeah, I mean, the sponsorship thing. If we come back to the latest one, that just makes things even worse. That it's got the big 3 logo on it. I don't have a problem with that as a logo. It just makes no sense to especially if you're going to have an overly cluttered shirt like that has too many things going on. It's going to look even worse if you have then a sponsor's logo on the front as well. So they're not even mindful of that. And that's the shirt that they're trying to market. All right, the players aren't going to be wearing it, but that's the one they want to sell. So you've got to make it more understated, if that makes sense.
You would think so, but when you have so many shirts coming out, you have to make them all different to each other. So I suppose that's a factor too.
So just go back through history again. When was there? I don't want to get too political, but when Ireland was part of the United Kingdom entirely, would that be the right way to phrase it, or was it? How did it work prior to 1920? What was the case, and what was the case with the football team?
Yeah, it was a United team like from the 1880s or whenever, and they wore blue.
Okay.
Why St. Patrick's blue is the blue that's cited as being the shade, which I'm fairly sure is a kind of a light blue, but I think the jerseys were fairly dark. And then that was like until 1921. Then when the split happened, blue was worn, and the Republic of Ireland, as the team became known, eventually. But that was only kind of done later because both teams went under the name Ireland, which, if you think about it, didn't really make all that much sense. But FIFA kind of stepped in then to call them the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. And as another sidebar, a lot of people refer to this country as the Republic of Ireland, but in the Constitution it's just called Ireland. So international football is actually the only area where an entity called the Republic of Ireland exists. So I'm just checking there now. It was the 1924 Olympics that Ireland first wore green, as in Southern Ireland, and it's been green since. I'm not sure when Northern Ireland changed to green.
Okay, so there's a couple of things there. So would we regard then that team prior to that as like a home nation, the same as like Scotland having an international team, Wales having an international team, and England having a national team? It was one of the 4, right? Okay. The other thing is what you. So we talk about the 2 teams called Ireland there. Even up to today, you have the Irish FA, which refers to let's call it Northern Ireland. Again, not getting too political, but the team that is known as Northern Ireland in international football is represents the Irish FA, and then the FAI, which is the Football Association of Ireland, refers to the Republic of Ireland. So the UN calls Ireland, not Republic of Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's news to me. But in terms of football, something that people don't realise is anyone who is, as I understand it, anyone who's eligible to play for the football team called Northern Ireland is also eligible to play for the football team called Republic of Ireland. So there is no border as far as football is concerned in terms of eligibility, and that's to do with the Good Friday Agreement, I think. So So and that is the same for the granny rule. So if you have a grandparent that, say, was born in Belfast, then you are entitled to play for the Republic of Ireland. So there is no border.
The same exists in terms of Great Britain, but there's a gentleman's agreement that it's never abused.
Yeah, I have heard this before, and I think it's. I know it started out as a gentleman's agreement, but I think it has been actually written in now by FIFA, hasn't it? It may not be, but yeah, that in effect, FIFA wouldn't have a problem with someone born in Scotland, never even visited England, actually playing for England, because in political terms, there's no difference really.
It's the same country, yeah.
It's the same, yeah. It's only the United Kingdom that's really the country. But
I just said that to attract the hate mob, by the way. That phraseology.
Which phrase was that?
That it's the same country.
Oh, what? That Scotland and England are the same country?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Sorry, I'm really bagging on the thoughts, aren't I?
If you really want to attract the hate mobs, then you say that one of those, they are two separate countries. One of them is crap, and one of them is brilliant.
So yeah, well, yeah, I did that in the last podcast. Remember, I basically just completely dismissed Scotland as a sporting entity apart from Andy Murray.
Yeah, well, that's probably accurate. He won again the other day. Did you see? For who did he win for though?
Great Britain, I'd imagine.
There you go. So my point wasn't so hackneyed, was it?
Which point?
The point that when he wins, he does it for Britain, and when he loses,
well, if you'd asked me who he lost for, I'd have said Great Britain as well. Like,
but he didn't lose.
He represents the cup. It's so.
Yeah, but he doesn't lose. He doesn't lose for them.
In this debate.
Okay. So we've done that anyway. Okay, let's not get into that again. Okay, so O'Neill's were known for making the Ireland shirts. So O'Neill's is when was O'Neill set up? 1918, is it?
Yeah, okay. 1918. I'm not sure when exactly they started making the Ireland kit, because it's impossible without logos to trace all that kind of stuff. But at some stage, they did become the primary producers. And then in the 70s, I suppose they kind of would have copied the trends that they were seeing in England, and gradually more accoutrements were added to the kit.
Now, this is where being a kit geek turns into a little bit of a sickness. So because you've said 1918 there, I'm thinking back to something that happened at Croke Park, and that was in when was that? The Croke Park thing that is it that? Oh, 19 when?
20.
Oh, 1920. Oh, okay. So they would have been wearing O'Neill's kits.
Possibly, but they didn't like just become established and take over making every single county jersey straight away. I don't know when they achieved ubiquity in GA either. So I'd imagine they might have been making the Dublin jerseys, but Tipperary, the team Dublin were playing that day. I presume they probably had a local supplier. O'Neill's gradually becoming dominant. It's probably just like a miniaturized version of globalization, that you had all these local ones, and then gradually O'Neill's began to spread their area of dominance.
So just could you explain to people what happened at Croke Park? It's a major event in Irish history.
It basically the day became known as Bloody Sunday. It was November 1920, and earlier that morning, Irish freedom fighters had killed a lot of British agents, and the Crown forces basically decided that revenge was needed. So a lot of soldiers went into Croke Park, where the match was being played, and began firing indiscriminately. And one of the players who died was a footballer for Tipperary called Michael Hogan, and the main stand at Croke Park is called the Hogan Stand in memory of him.
Yeah, it's.
I'll try to stick to facts there and just give as brief a synopsis as I can.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. But obviously, people can look into that. There's a lot of things that went on that weren't really right. I think that's probably an example of it. Okay, so we were talking about the Ireland shirts. Now, so O'Neill's had it up until the 80s, as you say.
Yeah.
Adidas took over.
In a lot of people's eyes, is year zero for the Republic of Ireland team because, like that, you had Adidas coming in with real nice new modern jerseys, Opel taking over the sponsors, and obviously Jack Charlton becoming manager, and kind of Ireland basically becoming better.
Yeah. So, and that is convenient for us because that's basically our lifetimes as well, and we started being interested in football just after that had happened. So it's like we don't need to worry about anything that happened before we were born, which is convenient. So the Adidas kits people will know. So 88, 90, very famous kits. That 90 kit was good actually. It had a good watermark to it as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly why it had that kind of V pattern, but it did. That was the first kit I had, so it holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time for Irish football as well. So you mentioned that the last Ireland kit was, and is that the one that was worn at the '94 World Cup?
Yeah.
Sorry, the last Adidas Ireland kit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they
like the current one kind of fairly busy in terms of things going on. The fabric had a load of different kind of designs in it.
Okay, and then that's when we say that they only had that kit for a short amount of time, but they were wearing was it the away kit they wore when they beat Italy?
No.
Oh no, sorry.
That World Cup where they wore the green shirts. They wore white against Mexico and Norway and the Netherlands.
Oh right, okay. So they wore the home kit against Italy. Okay.
They actually thought that they had to wear the white against Italy, and they were in the tunnel, and Italy came out with white as well, so Ireland had to go back in and change.
Yeah, that's why I. Oh yeah, they both wanted to because of the heat. It was another one of those wear white because it's hot World Cups. Yeah. Yeah, so that's why I got mixed up. So Ray Houghton scored the goal against Italy. So even though those kits weren't kept for very long, you got your money's worth out of those kits, really, didn't you?
Well, it was an okay World Cup. It wasn't as good as 1990. So
yeah,
like I don't know. The away was kind of nice, but the home, I don't know. It was a strange kind of design because it wasn't used by anyone else. No other Adidas team. And there was no 3 stripes on the shirt anywhere.
Oh yeah, I hadn't.
Or the shorts, only the socks.
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I'd never realised that before. But anyway, when after that World Cup, Umbro came in, and those Umbro kits, were they quite similar to those Adidas kits?
I suppose they were similar in kind of in terms of 90s design elements. Like it, there wasn't really anything identical, but you pinpoint them as being from the same time period, all right? Yeah. The orange did feature quite heavily in the away. It was a weird kind of design with panels coming up from the ribs basically and going up from both sides up to the collar. If I'm explaining that kind of in a coherent way.
Yeah.
In the way one of those panels was green and the other was orange. Whereas on the home, they were both green on a green shirt, so they didn't stand out as much.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There was
yes,
navy trim on those first Umbro shirts. And navy has been the kind of the 4th colour that Umbro have used. It's been the go-to if orange hasn't featured as prominently.
There was around that time, or probably around 97, probably wasn't there an orange shirt that Ireland had, which was controversial? Would you say?
Just controversial in that it was shit. Well, there was a few misgivings about it being the unionist colour, but it was just an awful shirt. First of all, it was in the same style as the blue 97-98 Man United third kit, with kind of, stupid fucking stripes on the sleeves and coming down the sides of the shirt. But it was orange shirts, black shorts, and black socks. But it was only ever worn once against Macedonia, who were wearing all white. So there was absolutely no need for it to be worn. And Ireland lost 3-2, and Jason McAteer was sent off. And it was a real dent to the hopes of qualifying for World Cup 98. And it became a kind of an in-joke in the squad afterwards that the worst trainer in a training session was given an award of having to wear a yellow shirt at the next training session, and on that shirt was written, "I had a Macedonia."
Yeah, I did know about this, but they've hasn't there since been another game against Macedonia equally as bad?
No, that's the gold standard, or the orange standard.
The yellow standard. No, that's quite good. That's you feel on your feet. I think there has been another game. If there is, the YouTube video is below. So just below. It's on the screen now. So just...
it's kind of affecting my my self-imposed, well, not self-imposed, but imposed by you, status as the expert.
The obvious question there is, why don't Ireland wear, seeing as they never wore that shirt again, why do they, in training, when they've had a Macedonia, why don't they wear an orange shirt, or in fact that orange shirt?
Yeah, it would have made more sense. It was actually a yellow Umbro goalkeeper shirt, just a bog standard template one, just plain yellow with a black round neck collar.
Yeah, that seems as though
black round neck, I suppose the word collar is redundant there.
Yeah, it's it sounds as though people actually in football don't care about kits as much as we do, which
yeah,
that realization would be hard to take.
Yeah, I actually remember the other Macedonia game that you're on about now. It was the Euro 2000 qualifying, and Ireland left in the last minute equaliser. But it wasn't deemed as bad.
Okay.
On the relative.
But because they didn't win that game, it was a major reason why they didn't go to Euro 2000.
Yeah, they ended up having to play in a playoff against Turkey then.
Yeah. So they might have topped the group, and so they lost out to Turkey. Okay. When didn't England play Turkey in a playoff for something?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Playoff. England haven't really needed many playoffs. They've generally been good in the qualifying.
Oh no, they didn't need a playoff. I think they drew in Istanbul, where they needed a draw when I think they were missing Rio Ferdinand because he missed a drugs test or something.
One of the few England playoffs I recall gave rise to a very good trivia question. Name the last English-born player to score a goal at the old Wembley.
Oh, come on. I don't know. Is it Kazim or something? If it relates to
it was in an international game.
It was an international game. The last English born. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's Don Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Okay.
For Scotland.
Yeah. Okay. Against England. No, they won 1-0.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go then. There's
yeah, Scotland won 1-0, but England had won the away leg 2-0. 2 goals, I think.
Yeah. Remember it well. Okay, so Umbro were the manufacturer for the 90s. Well, actually, Umbro have been the manufacturer of the Ireland kit since the mid 90s up to the present day. So, is there like a high watermark for Umbro with Ireland? What's the best kit that they've had?
Oh, the best Umbro kit. It's hard to know, really. I did like the one I was around 2010. It was just green. It was one of their plainer ones. It was green with a white V-neck and that gold seam, which if it had been orange, I'd have probably liked it more. And
yeah, I think I remember that one. And They've had a couple of good ones. Obviously, when the Umbro tailored by thing came in, there was the first couple were good.
That was that period, yeah.
Yeah. I do. One that I do like, and it's an interesting one again, is there's one that's like a rugby shirt.
I was literally just going to say that one, actually. That was in 2000 until 2001. Very, very short-lived. And it was another nice plain green with a white kind of shirt collar, almost.
Now,
kind of a woolen feel to it too. But it didn't have much of a shelf life, really.
No, makes it even more interesting because it's a similar design. If you know that England had a red one like that that they wore at Euro 2000. I think they beat Germany wearing it. Where both teams wore away kits, I think.
Yeah, very strange.
Yeah. So they beat Germany 1-0, I think. And Manchester United had one which was navy with like white horizontal pinstripes, I think. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, and black and red collar, and it was worn with black shorts and socks too, which you wouldn't think would look good, but I thought it was a good overall look, navy and black.
Yeah, well, it's something that's come into fashion probably more recently than that. So good for Umbro doing that at the time. There's a quiz question for you. Especially considering the short shelf life of that Island shirt, what's particularly interested about it in terms of the retailed version?
Was it the last one to have the Opel logo?
Well, you're half there.
Did it not have any logo?
Well, it had both. It was available with the Opel logo, and it was available afterwards with the Aircom logo as well. Yeah.
As you would have thought, that would have been a good reason for it not to be available for long, in that, or maybe the sponsor changed, so then they just had to bring out a new shirt. But that flies in the face of that logic, doesn't it?
It does. There been another one from the other change from the Aircom to 3. Has there been another shirt that you've been able to buy with two different sponsors?
I would imagine that if that happened, then they would just definitely have used the opportunity to launch a new kit. I can't remember the 3 one. It might have been that one I'm on about with the white V-neck from 2010 or so.
Yeah, that sounds possible. But obviously they stagger the shirts as well, don't they? They don't change both at the same time. So you would imagine there's one that's going to have like a crossover of sponsors. Wouldn't that be the case?
Yeah, well, there have been times where they've launched the away very, very soon after a home. Like they're staggered, but in terms of actual practical use, there hasn't been a need for an away, in the intervening period.
Yeah. Okay. Something that I want to talk to you about, and I wanted to mention, and I don't think you're going to be able to answer this, but in the 2002 World Cup, Roy Keane didn't play, which you could find out the reasons why Roy Keane didn't play, and you could probably debate the reasons why Roy Keane didn't play. But Robbie Keane did play. Now, Robbie Keane in that World Cup was he number 10? Was he?
Robbie Keane was. I would struggle to find a game where he hasn't worn number 10 for Ireland.
Okay. Yeah, so let's say he was number 10 then. That sounds likely.
He was definitely 10 in that World Cup,
yeah. And the name he wore on his shirt was R.
Keane.
R. Keane. Now that that doesn't make sense. What to distinguish him from who?
I don't know what. Roy really fucked that up for us by going home, Stash being sent home, because we never found out what he would have had on his shirt.
What he would have had on the shirt. That is quite good. It's yeah.
I can think of a comparable example. I think in the '98 World Cup, Romania had Georgi Popescu and Gabriel Popescu, and basically they had Popescu GH and Popescu GA on their shirts. So the logical one then from an Ireland point of view would be Rob Keane and Roy Keane. But obviously that didn't happen.
No. Well, we have to assume that they didn't change the shirts once they realised Roy Keane wasn't going to be there. So,
well, if they were going to do that, then it would just be Keane.
You would think so, but even that logic doesn't work because there's no meat.
I don't think they would have changed the shirts because, to all intents and purposes, Keane was still part of the squad because originally it looked like Colin Healy was going to replace him. And it was like, he's going home. Oh, he's not going home. And so Healy looked like he had been kind of called up and then, not called up. And then Keane left and it was too late for him to be replaced. So before every Ireland game, it would list the teams and then list the subs. And obviously in the World Cup, anyone who's not in the team is a sub. And so Roy Keane was listed as a sub for all of the matches, even though he wasn't even in the country.
What do you mean by listed? Is this what on the TV graphics and stuff he'd be listed?
Yeah.
Oh,
but
dear.
he was still part of the squad in FIFA's eyes, so he was a sub. Therefore,
okay.
I don't know. Maybe if you check FIFA.com, their archive, I'd say you'll probably find 6 or Keane listed as a sub for the Ireland games.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's but surely not. I don't know. No, I'm sure that he would have worn. I've got a pretty good idea of what he would have worn because he was the more senior player and he was the captain of the side. He would have worn Keane 6. I would have thought there wouldn't have been an R because
perhaps it's very hard to know, but that does seem like the most plausible one, really.
But also ridiculous.
Totally ridiculous. There is an argument to be made that because players wear squad numbers, there's no need for any initial. It's like, 6 is Roy Keane, 10 is Robbie Keane. They can both have Keane. But I know you're asking too much of the audience there, aren't you?
The only other thing I can think is that it's for the purposes of the referee, and maybe because of what Roy Keane represented. He wasn't Roy Keane; he was just Keane because he was almost like Brazilian in stature, let's say. So he was world-renowned footballer.
Just as you mentioned Brazil, this is a real tangent and nothing to do with kits. But I was at an event last week and Liam Brady was one of the guest speakers, and he told a story about how he had been issued with a suspension coming up to Euro 88, a 4-game ban. So basically he wouldn't have been able to play in any of the group games. So there's a special hearing in Switzerland with UEFA. And basically, as Roy Keane would have mentioned from time to time, the FAI has a reputation for ineptitude. So there was an impassioned case made for Brady by one of these FAI suits to the FIFA committee, or the UEFA committee, my apologies. And he said, Liam Brady, he's what Michael Platini is to French football. We really need him at this Euro 88. He's what Diego Maradona is to Brazilian football.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
In fairness, and Brady wouldn't have a reputation for being a great raconteur, but he had very good comic timing at this event that I was at.
Yeah. Liam Brady, wasn't there talk about, was he at West Ham at the time? Wasn't there talk about him going to Italia 90 and then he didn't go?
Yeah. Well, Jack Charlton just didn't really like him as a player. He was a passing midfielder basically, so he didn't fit in to Jack's style of play.
What's a midfield?
Sorry?
What's a midfield?
Well, basically, he wouldn't track back and tackle enough. Charlton would have bypassed the midfield anyway.
That's what I'm saying. What is a midfield?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I get you now.
I've made a joke.
Yeah, sorry. It was just too dry for me. But there was a game. Was he struggling with injury maybe, and so I hadn't been playing as much? But there was a friendly game against Germany in the spring of 1990, and Charlton played Brady and brought him off in the first half, and it turned out to be his last game for Ireland.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
That's not.
And Brady at that event also told a story like of the first game that Charlton was in charge against Wales, and Jack was and saying the team, he's like, "Oh, number 6, Ian Brady," and Ian Brady, I just said to him, "My name's Liam Jack. Ian Brady's the fucking Moors murderer."
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
easily. Didn't he used to call Tony Cascarino fucking ice cream man?
That does sound familiar, yeah. From Cascarino's book, yeah, that makes that rings a bell.
Mm.
Yeah, he.
Okay.
I suppose you just call him old school, wouldn't you, Jack?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the polite way of putting it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, so Island shirts. We've mentioned O'Neill's. They used to make the Island kits. Now they're more known for GAA. That's always been their area of expertise, really, is Gaelic football and hurling. Um, so this year, obviously St Patrick's Day, so that's great. But it's also the 100th anniversary of the Easter Rising, which we've sort of touched on as well. So, give us a quick idea of what that means.
It's kind of seen as the first step in what eventually became Ireland's independence. Um, and basically there was a big siege in Dublin over Easter week, and with all the leaders, the proclamation of the Irish Republic was read from the roof of the General Post Office on O'Connell Street, and uh, there was a lot of conflict over the next few days, but the British won out, and the 7 men who signed the proclamation were all shot. But it kind of gave everyone else the push to fight towards independence, and over the next 5 years that was fought as a guerrilla war, and then eventually England decided it was time to negotiate, and that's how Ireland was split, and that's kind of that's it basically.
Yeah. So that that's the proclamation of the Irish Republic. That this is this is quite a famous document. A lot of people would have seen this. Is this the? I mean, a lot of people will be able to visualize this. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's made it onto the back of a commemorative jersey this year, has it?
Yeah, O'Neill's have made a 1916 proclamation shirt.
Okay.
It won't be finding its way into my wardrobe, but I'd imagine there is a certain constituency with whom it would appeal.
Yeah, there are elements of it that I'm not a great fan of it, but it's like a watermark on the back, isn't it?
I don't know, would you even say watermark? I think it's just screen printed on.
Is it? Oh, okay.
But it's fairly prominent, like.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm forgetting it. I thought it was maybe just shades of what colour is the jersey?
There's a green one, but I think there's also a blue one now in the Dublin colours.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe I'm thinking of that. I thought it was just. I mean, it's clear you could read it, but I would still probably describe it as a watermark from what I remember. I might be wrong. It's blue on blue and green on green, though, isn't it?
I suppose there's probably an element of that, but it's you wouldn't miss it, I suppose.
Okay, but a lot of watermarks are like that. Okay, so that's something that's going on. You do have a lot of these. I think that there are ties between O'Neill's and maybe Irish independence, and I don't know. There are also you sometimes see, and not necessarily O'Neill's. I don't want to say that they do it, but there's certainly with the idea of historical republicanism. There are the odd shirt that pops up on some sort of market, or it pops up on eBay, like Celtic shirts that are that way inclined, and they have sort of historical references. Are you? Some of them are a little bit it's unsubtle. Yeah. It's. What are your thoughts on them in general?
On O'Neill's?
No, not on O'Neill's. Or just on political.
I wouldn't
jerseys.
kind of be a massive fan.
Mm.
I think they should be kept apart.
Yeah.
Sport and politics, I don't think should be linked that closely. Really, I wouldn't be overly gone on Barcelona having red and yellow away kits.
Yeah, well, that's not. I mean, I've mentioned this before, but the first one that they had was red and yellow, and that's not really so political. That's just a reference to a region. All right, it gets drawn.
But it's the region that's looking to secede from Spain, like.
Well, it may well be, but the region, those are the colours of the region's flag, if nothing else. So it doesn't necessarily. You don't have to wear it for that reason.
Yeah, I know, but I think there's an undercurrent associated with it.
Well, I think it changed when they did it again and they brought in blue shorts, because the blue shorts suggests a flag of independence rather than the regional flag. But that's a separate issue. We don't need to talk about that. Now, the Umbro thing. I thought the Umbro thing was gonna go. I made a big deal on the website. Made a big deal out of Warrior taking over. I was sure that Warrior were going to take over the Irish contract, because suddenly Warrior were doing things in Ireland. They've got the Shamrock Rovers kit. But that hasn't really turned out. I suppose because Umbro have come, I suppose back from the dead might be a bit strong, but they things weren't looking good for them for a while, and now they seem to be as big as they were before. So I suppose they're going to carry on. It's a different company in Ireland anyway, isn't it? They're licensed to make Umbro products.
Yeah, Top Line is the name of the company. And they, like a few years ago, they had a load of League of Ireland teams. No, I stand to be corrected, but I think St. Patrick's Athletic are the only team with Umbro.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what the story is, basically.
Okay. Now, talking a little bit about League of Ireland. So, what's happening this season? What sort of interesting kits we got? Is any other teams at the minute? We'll get onto like the major League of Ireland team when it comes to kits anyway in just a second. But is there anything interesting going on in League of Ireland in terms of what they're wearing?
Dundalk, the champions, have a new kit, and I'll just tell you now who makes it. They had Umbro for the last few years. A company called CX Plus Sports. And I don't really know who they are, to be honest. They just kind of appeared out of nowhere, and they're making a few kits. I don't think they produce any in England, do they?
It doesn't ring a bell. I don't remember that name, no.
Yeah. So I think Dundalk and Drogheda, who are from County Louth and are Dundalk's rivals, I think both of them have CX Plus Sports. So maybe it's just a company in Louth who are kind of starting off. The kits aren't bad now, to be honest. Dundalk's is kind of white with black, kind of in the style of Spain Euro 96 kit.
Okay, yeah.
Well, just with the vertical stripes rather than one sleeve being black.
Yeah.
And St. Patrick's Athletic, who I mentioned previously, the only team with Umbro, they normally have an Arsenal style kit. But I'd say for the first time in about 25 years, they have red sleeves this season now.
Okay. And how did that go down? Was that okay?
I don't think there was much controversy over it.
Okay.
Because they would have had plain red in the past too before.
Yeah. Oh, okay. They would have had it in the past, but so would have Arsenal, wouldn't they?
Well, very briefly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Longford goalkeeper shirt, a few people drew my attention to it on Twitter recently. It's like, do you remember that Wales third kit from a few years ago? Italian flag style, basically. White body with one green sleeve and one red.
Okay, you've piqued my interest. Yep.
Yeah, that's the Longford goalkeeper kit, but worn with red socks, which kind of white shorts and red socks, which just gives it an unbalanced look slightly.
So they should be wearing odd socks. Is that what you're saying?
No, white shorts and white socks I think would be best.
Okay.
Odd socks look like Christmas elf or something, wouldn't it?
The important thing is really if he wears a short sleeve version or cuts the sleeves off, cut at the elbow, what sort of base layer the goalkeeper is wearing. That's probably the most important element of that. Would you not agree?
Yeah. Bray Wanderers last season had the same kit as Cork City, exactly the same, green with a white vertical stripe, Nike teamwear, but each of the teams had different teamwear deals, so that's why that kind of happened without, each did it without the other knowing, basically. But this season, Bray have, that kind of checkerboard style.
Oh yeah, the fading out thing that Bradford have.
Yeah, I think they're that in green and black, and Athlone Town have it in blue and black.
Okay.
So Bray, it's funny, we talk about, I'm probably preempting you, we talk about Cork City changing their style a lot, but Bray are also green and white, and they too have had loads of different combinations of it, but their kits haven't been as nice as Cork City's. So that's probably why they don't get as much attention.
Yeah, well,
being very biased rather than insulting the people of Bray.
No, I don't think there is much of that. The Cork City like Celtic in Scotland and probably Paris Saint-Germain in France now, where they've just, or they certainly were in that they've outgrown the league in terms of their kit. That's the kit equivalent of it being impressive on the pitch, I suppose. Just streets ahead of everyone else, weren't they? And was there other teams in Ireland who had this similar sort of things going on with their kit? Obviously, you wouldn't know to the same extent because you're a Cork fan and you were based in that sort of area. But do other teams have like versions of the kit that we know around the world, but slightly tweaked in the same way that Cork City do?
No, not really. Not to the best of my knowledge, anyway.
No. So,
like in the early 90s, well, in the 80s, there would have been a good few teams have Adidas kits, but they would have just been plain kind of bog standard designs. Just a V-neck and the three stripes. But then in the early 90s, City were one of the few to keep with Adidas, and a lot of teams had O'Neill's, who at the time were producing tributes to the Adidas styles, with the over-the-shoulder stripes and things like that. So they were very, very similar. I can show you pictures for notes of Shelburne shirts. That if you looked at them, you would think, oh yeah, that's Adidas, and then closer inspection would reveal, no, it's O'Neill's. Taking inspiration, shall we say?
Yeah, but isn't there a lot then of these shirts ending up being worn? Say if they needed change shorts for particular games, are they not going to end up being worn with Adidas change shorts and socks and that kind of thing? Does that happen?
I know of one. Well, I know of two examples of that with non-Adidas kits. In 1976, Ireland did it away to France, when they had O'Neill's kit, and my best guess is that they just went to France with their home kit and found out over there that they had to change, and probably just went into a Magasin du Sport in Paris and just bought 14 pairs of green shorts, I suppose, seeing as the goalies wouldn't need them. Or they might have actually, I must look at the team picture again. Maybe it was 16 pairs of green shorts, green Adidas shorts, which were worn with the O'Neills. And then in 1994-95, Shamrock Rovers brought their home kit to Bishopstown for a game with Cork City. So green and white hoops, obviously, and Cork City were green, white and red stripes. And the game was delayed for a half hour while a local team were contacted to see if their shorts could be borrowed, and they were the blue Adidas, Liverpool 91 to 93 style.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
They're they wore blue shorts like that with their green and white hoops. Didn't look the best, really.
Yeah, I want to see pictures of that. See, this is the thing with Cork City, and we can focus entirely on Cork City now. So I've been going through your site, corkcitykits.com, which is fantastic, and you've got and things like that happening all the time. So you'll have like around 91 to 93 or 4, whatever it is. You'll have that new with a big what's the word you use to describe those bars on the shoulders?
Obnoxious.
Obnoxious. The big obnoxious bars on the shoulders in various different ways, and then they'll be wearing like a slightly different style of shorts, and it won't have alternate coloured stripes on the shorts either. So, but everything looks brilliant. I don't know whether it's partly the way you illustrate them that makes them look great, but I want to see these kits in action. They somehow work all the time. Maybe it's because it's white, green, and red a lot of the time. But it even when it mismatches, it looks fantastic.
I don't know why that is really. Like, I know what you're saying about the mismatching shorts just being carried over from the previous kit for the 92-93 kit, and basically just in October they started wearing the matching shorts then. And like, I'm not sure kind of who was the driver behind saying, oh, why don't we get shorts that match our shirts rather than doing what we've done for the last year and a half.
Yeah, but I suppose that's good that someone has actually gone, that someone cares, because that someone, because I don't, obviously I would look at it immediately and go, what are you doing? You can't wear, that's a different style, even if it sort of ties in. Your instant reaction would be, well, it's a completely different style for us, because we would recognize which sorts of shorts are meant to go with which shirt. But for someone there to go, even if it's like a few months into the season, to go, no, I'm not having this anymore. Especially when is it like a factory was like just around the corner or something, was it? So
well, you see, it was around this time that the factory would have closed. So I don't know. I don't know, is that a factor? But even 394, when they had what the fans refer to as the pajamas kit, the one I mentioned earlier, the green, white, and red stripes. Like in the first season, that was worn. Adidas, in their wisdom, that template in 93-94, they brought it out with the shorts having one leg striped, which worked about as well as you'd imagine it worked. Rangers, the way was the same in orange and navy. But for 94-95, clearly someone had made the decision in Cork City that no, we're not wearing these shorts anymore. Because there was a pre-season friendly against Celtic where they wore the kit with navy shorts. And then the first 2 games of the season they wore red. In the new Adidas 94-95 style with the 3 stripes around the bottom of the leg of the short. So they wore navy first with white stripes, then red with white stripes, and then, like 92-93, these pair of green shorts with white and red stripes just materializes. So you'd wonder the trouble that was gone to get the perfectly tailored shorts, because I don't recall many other examples of those shorts with alternate coloured stripes.
Did Argentina have them?
But they just had black shorts with 3 white stripes.
I'm sure there was no. Oh, I don't know. If it's on the notes, then I found it. If it's not on the notes,
Third actually in 94-95 had black shorts with a light blue or grey stripe, purple stripe, and then the light blue or grey again. So that's another example. Argentina in Euro 96, no, Olympics 96 had a hybrid version of those shorts with the stripes down the bottom of one leg and then down the side of the other leg.
See, this is when I saw these, because I hadn't seen these before. You drew my attention to them, and it just seems like that is the final sort of, now you've actually descended into insanity when you see these things, because there's one example where they've got like the hooped stripes on one leg and the the vertical stripe on the other leg. Then there's another one where it's swapped the other way round, isn't it, in another match or another tournament?
What is that?
Yeah, they swap them, I think.
I didn't spot that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure there's they swap over from one side to the other. Or maybe that is my insanity.
Yeah. Actually, just as I'm sitting here, just to give you an idea of the 93-94 City kit, I just noticed that there's a picture in my living room of me, a picture montage my aunt made for me, and one of the pictures is of me as mascot in 1994, with Cork City wearing that striped kit. And the funny thing is that in late 93, they brought out a new all black away kit in the style of Liverpool's 93-94 kit, with the 2 sets of 3 stripes coming up from the lower half. And they wore it in a good few home games, I presume just to kind of market it, because it was the first away kit that we properly sold. And at the time, I wanted to be the mascot, but didn't have a proper kind of scheme. But that game that I was mascot for at home to Derry City turned out to be the one where they actually reverted to wearing the home kit.
So yeah, I'll go through your site and I'll find things that are both ridiculous and fantastic. And like the 91-92 season, that's when they had the obnoxious stripes, which were unbroken, ran all the way down, and then Guinness was like mounted on the top of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first version of that, there was a short sleeve version, and it had like a trefoil logo on the collar, and then eventually they broke the stripes to allow the Guinness to be to have more prominence, I suppose. And then they got another long sleeve. They got a long sleeve version, but without the stripes broken again.
Before they got that long sleeve version, they had changed to the Liverpool style, just to confuse it further.
Oh, okay. So then they. Okay, so there was 2 different styles of shirt in effect between the short sleeve version and the long sleeve version.
Yeah.
Okay, and then then when that long sleeve version came along, it had, so you're going back to two designs or 3 designs, and then you've got the equipment logo on the collar, then, haven't you?
Yeah.
So nothing makes any sense.
Nothing makes any sense.
Nothing makes any sense.
Yeah.
I think that is how we should end this podcast. This is not going to be the last podcast, because that would be a bad thing. But the idea that nothing makes any sense is a nice way to sum things up, I think. We do have some corrections to make regarding previous. Well, one correction, I think, at the minute, but I probably will need to correct things from this podcast maybe in the future. I said, and this is a meta correction, this is my favourite correction yet, I corrected myself and said that it was the 1981 European Cup final where the Real Madrid president took issue with Liverpool having Umbro logos on their shirts, so they had to put tape over the shirt. It wasn't the Real Madrid president who cared about that. Why would he care about that? It wasn't him who had a problem with it. It was Horst Dassler, who was he must be dead now, but he was the son of Adi Dassler, and was like head honcho or very high up at Adidas at the time. So he took issue with it, whilst being happy to see Real Madrid wearing 3 stripes on the sleeves and probably having the Adidas logo visible as well, because there was a big thing with Adidas having the contract for European football or something with UEFA. So they were allowed to have as much as they wanted. Umbro were allowed virtually nothing, if anything at all. Is that something I'm going to need to correct? Have another layer of correction, do you think, Dennis?
No, it sounds pretty good.
Okay. Was there anything that you wanted to add regarding previous podcasts, or any observations?
Oh shit! Is this like a job interview where they ask you at the end if you have any questions as a kind of a test?
You should always have a question. They always told me that. I didn't do so well in job interviews.
But that's just so hackneyed now. Like, oh, what are your weaknesses? Oh, I work too hard. I'm a perfectionist. Shut the twat.
That's You'd never guess we were both self-employed, would you?
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me of a situation. Joshua Wilson. I think you know Joshua, or your paths have crossed before. He's Moon Designs on Twitter.
Yeah, he does work for Body Bro, which is a company, an Irish company owned by a Gaelic footballer, Ben Brosnan, who plays for Wexford, and the company is getting into the sportswear market, and I've just helped him out with a bit of stuff on his website, and so I was talking to Josh about his designs, but you asked me earlier about League of Ireland kits for this season, and one of the big developments is Body Bro making the kits for Wexford Youths. Despite the name, it's a senior club, and they're in the Premier Division for the first time, and they're wearing Body Bro kits. And the club is owned by a guy called Mick Wallace, who is a TD here in Ireland.
He wears a Torino shirt.
He has worn the Torino shirt in Parliament, yeah. So he's the equivalent of an MP, and he owns the club, and they have pink shirts, because he's a big Juventus fan as well, despite wearing the Torino shirt. I'm not sure which is the home or which is the away. They have a black shirt and a pink shirt anyway, and I think they kind of wear them, indiscriminately really. But so yeah, I'm not sure if Josh was actually involved in the design of that kit, but that they're looking to make a bit of an impact here in Ireland.
Okay, well that would be another instance of a member of design football becoming a professional kit designer. I would suggest if a professional football kit designer. I knew he was doing some work for them.
He designed all of there were about 7 soccer templates.
Yeah,
and he designed all of them.
Okay, that's good. So yeah, that's a professional team, is it?
Semi-professional.
Semi-professional.
Playing in the League of Ireland,
League of Ireland. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's quite good. But Joshua has had a situation recently where, and I just wanted to get your take on this, what you think about this. But he was offered some work, a similar situation to the Body Bro situation. He was offered some work from a company, a new startup company, I think. It seemed like a new startup, but apparently this has happened before with this company, which I won't name. But he was asked to do some work. He provided the work, and then they went quiet, and payment hasn't been forthcoming.
All right.
Yeah, apparently. So this isn't, for me. It's difficult, these sorts of situations, because it is an industry where, especially with the internet and everything that's going on now, there's a lot of asking people to do something for nothing, or in exchange for other things, in exchange for advertising.
Yeah.
So it's not always the case that money changes hands. But
yeah, exactly. Like it's not all like this podcast where you're paying me to appear.
Yeah, I'm paying you handsomely as well. So yeah, it doesn't all work out like that. You've thrown me a bit there, Dennis.
Yeah, you walked into that one.
Yeah. What I was thinking is that if you do, members of the website are going to get asked to do these kind of things from time to time, and they will have people offering them things. I suppose the important thing is to manage your own expectations and say, well, okay, I could offer this. I don't know this person, so are they going to pay me? Are they not going to pay me? And probably provide only a minimal amount of work before you invoice for the first time. I mean, speaking to someone who is self-employed, is that something you'd agree with, Dennis?
Yeah, I suppose so. It can be tough to negotiate it, all right. That diplomacy isn't either, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a case of doing things by stages, so not providing an entire project's worth of work and then saying, okay, it's time for you to pay me. You always do it in increments, and you get the first payment, and then you can move on to the next section, especially if you don't know the person, you've never met them. A lot of this stuff won't even be done face to face. You'll be doing it over the phone or over the internet. So it's a cautionary tale what he's gone through there, but other people have dealt with this particular company as well and tell a similar story, which is a shame. But
yeah, it's not a great way to do business, really.
No, maybe there are excuses for it. Maybe it's trying to get a business off the ground is difficult, and
but like if it happens once, you have an excuse. But if it happens with a few different people, you know, it's tougher to justify it, really, isn't it?
It certainly is. I would agree with that 100%. Okay. Well, thank you again, Dennis. It's been great talking to you. Remember to visit Dennis's sites. Museumofjerseys.com is really, if anything is updated on your other sites, Dennis, does it get updated on Museum of Jerseys as well?
Yeah, pretty much it is. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the central hub for everything.
Okay, so we're not. If we stick to Museum of Jerseys, we're gonna be made aware of what happens on the other sites.
Yeah.
Okay, that's ideal. And Museum of Jerseys on Facebook. No, museumofjerseys.com on Facebook, Museum of Jerseys on Twitter. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can contact Dennis that way and like him and follow him, and all those kind of things. Oh, sorry. Yeah, very likable, Dennis.
Thanks.
On our website, designfootball.com. We're on Facebook, designfootball.com. We're on Twitter, designfootball. I'm J29ers on Twitter if you wanted to speak to me specifically. There is a weekly crest competition going on the website at the minute. That's a lot of fun, and there's been some great entries on that. So it changes, the team changes each week, and you do a voting thing for the crests that have been submitted for the previous team the previous week in that week as well. So that's really interesting. So you could enter that. I don't think it's a case of if you weren't there the first week you can't enter going forward. So head over to that and upload designs. And there's also an Atlanta United are joining the MLS, as I spoke to Austin Long about. Atlanta United are joining MLS in 2017. So there's a competition on the website at the minute for their kits. It's not the kits they're going to wear, but it's just a fun thing to see what they should be wearing. Are you going to be entering that, Dennis?
The way you've asked me that question now, it kind of sounds like you're putting pressure on me to do it, so I suppose so, yeah.
That'd be good. You could also update Museum of Jerseys with your entries for the Atlanta United kit competition, if you wanted to.
Yeah, it could be a nice little arrangement, mutually beneficial, symbiotic.
Symbiotic. Maybe, yeah. If only we'd come up with a plan to do something along those lines.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this has been fantastic. Thank you again, Dennis. We'll speak to you again soon. You'll come back on, won't you?
If invited, of course. I'd never be so bold as to get complacent.
You'll be invited, Dennis. Don't worry about that.
That's great to hear. Thanks very much.
Enjoy the rest of your day, Dennis, and everyone should enjoy the rest of whatever time passes before the next podcast.
Yeah, I'm just heading out now to watch the local St. Patrick's Day parade, so it should be a great day. And I think the Gardaí, the police in Ireland, will be kept busy with public order offences tonight as Liverpool and Man United fans clash in pubs after a day on the Gargle. So that should be fun.
Yeah, so that's how I'll be celebrating.
Yeah, Ireland's two biggest teams playing each other on the national holiday.
That's quite something, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It's very fitting.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Thanks very much for that, Dennis, and speak to you soon.
All right. You too. Bye. Did you notice Patrick is credited with driving the snakes out of Ireland?
Yeah, I did know that. Yeah.
Sorry. Do you know what he said when he was driving the snakes out of Ireland?
No.
Are you all right in the back there, lads?
I don't get that.
Driving the snakes out of Ireland.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll probably just cut me out of that, not getting that joke.
Yeah. You can just delete the 8 seconds of silence and go straight to the laugh.
Yeah. I probably will do that. You're right in the back there. That's good. That's a good one.